works, and it's been going since 1981, and we've got Penn Athletic Rowing Club Association and California Rowing Club on the left, and Leander on the right. Away they go. I love the sound of a quad getting started. This must set your pulse rating, Angus.
Absolutely, and I'm just watching that Leander crew go off the start. They are so up for this. So the two-man, Tobias Schroeder, I know very well. I rode behind him in the 2022 boat race, and I was speaking to him the other day. He said in that Spanish race against Spanish, he was super up for it, and they desperate to take it to this American crew who narrowly lost out on Olympic qualification last month or 2 months ago in Lucerne in Switzerland.
I thought Leander went off incredibly well, very strong, very powerful, and absolutely together. And you can sort of see, look at the way the shoulders move. Got a nice pink stripe there to sort of help our eyes adjust to what's going on. But really, it's like a machine, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what you want to see. The shoulders look nice and low as well, just picking it up with the legs and shoving it on. Nice and leggy, nice and loose.
So Golden Sunshine is beating down now on these crews despite the wind and the rain we've had, and Leander are in a golden position at the moment quite early in the race, and that's a great achievement for them because, as you said, you know, the American crew here so narrowly missing out on Olympic qualification. 0.2 of a second behind the Estonians, who we'll see later actually, who are heading off to the Olympics. So these guys will want to channel some of the anger and disappointment into this race. You can see the focus on those faces as bowman Kevin Carbno, 29 years old, just looks across, and that gives you a sense that maybe he can no longer see them out of the corner of his eye. And this is a challenging position for the Americans, Angus.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we saw in that very tight race in Lucerne, that the Americans have got a really big sprint on them, and I think the Leander crew will know that, and they'll be wanting to make as much of an advantage as possible. But I think the Americans may be squeaking back a bit, but you can see there that Leander have got superb blade work. They're perfectly in time, going in nice and quickly, and that's really tricky to do in this cross headwind, where perhaps you've got breeze pressing on those blades, and it just makes it just that little bit more challenging to get a blade in. But these guys are elite, and they're just popping the blade in and pressing it along, supreme boat speed.
And Angus, we can see now from the marker at the barrier there that the Americans have actually come back to have a bit of overlap on Leander, which was good because they were starting to slip out when we saw the bowman glance over his shoulder there. So they are still in contact, and as you say, we know that they've got a significant turn of speed. They've got a lot to prove. For me, the Leander crew are looking more together and a bit more relaxed and longer, as you were saying. Really, really beautiful sculling and great blade work. What are you looking for? And you're looking, as we come alongside, let's just have a look.
I think what I'd be looking for is simplicity in the stroke and making the most out of each stroke as well. So you just want nothing complicated going on, no extra movement, just legs, bodies, arms, and then just letting it run on the recovery, and they're doing that really nicely. The American crew, they're a fantastic crew as well, and you can see actually they're getting their blades in very nicely too. Perhaps they're a little bit ragged, but I think they're going to have plenty as the race comes down. They've got lots and lots to race for.
Yeah, we've got the makings of a good race here. We're just coming up to the halfway mark. The Americans struggling a little bit with the steering. And you see they went close to the booms, and now they're coming a little bit across the course. And the umpire keeping her eye on these crews to make sure that they stay in their own water. So a bit of steering from the Americans, unfortunate, because I think they were starting to move there, so that could be a bit disruptive. And if you're in the Leander boat, you'll get that sense that, you know, they're steering a bit, and maybe that's the time to just push on a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very much aware of the course, and they know that they're going to have to make the most there at their advantage. And but I think it's very difficult for the foreign crews when they come over and having these booms, because they're not very common having these booms. I think Henley's probably the only course that you have them, and they're so unforgiving. You know, if you clip them, even with your with the end of your blade, that can be your race over. And if you, on a buoyed course, they are a bit more forgiving. But we can see there that Leander really pressing on as we're going past the Remnant Club, and they've almost opened up a length advantage.
Yeah, I think that the US crew in the white boat there, they had a further push over the last 200 or 300 metres, and we saw them sort of hold Leander for a little bit, as you spotted there, Angus. I think Leander are now starting to move away, and perhaps that kind of bit of steering and The nerves that you get when you feel that your oar is getting close to that boom, you know that if you hit it, it's likely to cause the boat to go even closer to the booms and then really slow you down. You'll have to almost restart. But here we are riding with Leander, looking smooth, clean, straight as a die down the course. Again, we can see from the marker the Americans are still in contact. You said we could expect a strong sprint for the finish from the Americans. Well, here they come. This is the do or die time for them. That difficult dead land that is the third quarter of the race now. Everything burning and bursting. The vision's going a bit tunnel, but the Americans really trying to move now, and another attack is coming.
Absolutely, and I think it's worth mentioning what these crews have got to race and win and try and win for. This Leander crew, they're up-and-coming British scudders, and their stroke man, he's got Canadian international experience, but they've got nothing to lose in this event. They are desperate to win it. These American guys as well, you know, their international season is perhaps over, and this is going to be their last hurrah of the season, and they're equally going to be wanting to win this race. They're going to be throwing absolutely everything in this last, perhaps coming into 500 metres to go now. And we're in for a cracker of a finish again.
Yeah, I think a few heads in the American boat going around, just trying to understand like how far away are they. The answer is, well, you've got a sniff still of Leander. It's still possible, but you really have to go now. And Leander are just consistent, relentless, solid, and squeezing the boat along. They haven't really changed what they're doing since they got off the start. Well, whereas the Americans have had to raise their game and attack a couple of times. And this is the last chance saloon for our friends from America. Well, it's a cracking race if you're joining us from the USA. Just watch the American crew with their sprint. Have they got what it takes to come back through Leander? They are going for it, and the stroke rate's coming up and up and up.
Yeah, the Americans are looking a bit ragged, and Rory Harris, that we can see in the bow seat there, the Leander crew, he has won this event before, back in 2021, so he knows what it takes to win, and he's taking it home. The Leander crew are taking this home.
Blistering finish from both crews. The Americans really raising their game, coming back on terms of Leander. Leander heads going across, just seeing the Americans coming through, but it's going to be Leander half a length. So the Americans clawed their way back, but it wasn't enough. The response that they were able to bring wasn't enough to overhaul Leander, who led from the start and put in a very solid win. So Leander winning to get a place in the final of the Queen Mother Cup, beating Penn Athletic and California from the USA.